Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins might just have a reason to smile as training camp inches closer. After a busy offseason loaded with anticipation, big moves, and even bigger expectations, one of their most important acquisitions, offensive guard James Daniels, gave fans an encouraging update. And trust me, this is exactly what the Dolphins needed to hear. Daniels, a veteran lineman fresh off a $24 million contract, is coming off a serious injury, a torn Achilles he suffered with the Steelers. Normally, that's the kind of setback that raises eyebrows and stirs doubt, especially when you're investing that kind of money. But this week, Daniels met with reporters and delivered a message that sparked optimism throughout the building. "I'm right on the progression," he said, simple but powerful. Because that tells us not only is he rehabbing, but he's confident. And in this league, confidence is everything, especially when your job is to protect Tua Tagovailoa. Let's not sugarcoat this. Achilles injuries are brutal. They're career-shifting, sometimes career-defining. For a big man like Daniels, who makes his living exploding off the line, engaging defenders and anchoring in pass protection, that kind of injury can be a mountain to climb. But if Daniels is really on track, as he says, then this isn't just good news, it's huge news. Remember, he went down on September 29th last year against the Colts. That timeline puts him at about 9 months into recovery. Typically, a full recovery takes 11 to 12 months. So if everything goes perfectly, he could be back right as the season kicks off. That's cutting it close. But in football, sometimes close is all you need. And while the Dolphins will remain cautious, having him in the building, active, and progressing toward a return is exactly what fans and coaches alike wanted to see and hear. Now, of course, we've got to look at this realistically. Daniels may be progressing well, but Achilles rehab isn't linear. Some days you feel strong, mobile, ready to go. Other days, your body tells you to slow down. Daniels seems to know that. He mentioned how he's balancing his time between rehab, workouts, and funnily enough, spending time with his wife and cats. That little detail might seem minor, but it says a lot. He's not just grinding to get back on the field, he's staying grounded, mentally healthy, and focused. And for a veteran lineman trying to make a fresh start in a new city with big expectations, mental readiness is just as important as physical. Daniels brings leadership, experience, and versatility. When he's fully healthy, he can be a game changer, not just a space filler. The Dolphins knew that when they signed him, and they're betting that this rehab will have him ready when it counts. So what happens if he's not ready? The Dolphins aren't panicking, they've got a plan. Rookie Jonah Savaiinaea, a promising draft pick with a ton of upside, is the next man up. If Daniels can't go week 1, expect to see Savaiinaea slide into that left guard spot while Liam Eichenberg takes over on the right. That's not ideal, rookies rarely hit the ground running, but Miami's been impressed with what they've seen so far. And here's the kicker, both Daniels and Savaiinaea have said they're open to switching spots when the time comes. That kind of flexibility is gold for a coaching staff. It's not just about who's starting, it's about how they fit together. Chemistry on the offensive line is everything. If those guys can build that bond regardless of who's playing where, the Dolphins could finally have the trench stability they've been chasing for years. Daniels didn't just praise the rookie's skills, he praised his mindset. "I think he's good," Daniels said. "He's always texting me. He's always texting other players asking for advice. He's always working after practice." That right there is music to any coach's ears. Because let's be honest, talent is only part of the equation. Work ethic, hunger, and the willingness to learn. That's what separates good players from great ones. For a young lineman stepping into a high-pressure role, learning from a veteran like Daniels is invaluable. It shows that the Dolphins are trying to build not just a line, but a culture. One where the old guard helps the new, where rookies ask questions instead of acting like they've arrived. That could be the secret sauce this team has been missing, especially when you consider how critical line play is for the Dolphins' success this year. And it will be critical, because all roads lead back to Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins know that their ceiling rises and falls with their quarterback. Protecting him has to be the #1 priority. We've seen what Tua can do when he's got time. The accuracy, the quick decisions, the rhythm. But we've also seen what happens when he's under duress. Last season had its share of moments where pressure broke the offense's flow. Fixing that starts up front. Daniels was brought in to be an answer to that problem. A steady, experienced presence who could anchor the middle of the line and open lanes for the running game. If he's healthy, the entire offense benefits. And that's why this update, this right on the progression moment, matters so much. Because this isn't just about one player's recovery. It's about the identity of this Dolphins team in 2025. Let's not forget, Daniels isn't new to big expectations. A second-round pick by the Bears back in 2018 out of Iowa, he came into the league known for his strength, mobility, and high football IQ. He's played multiple spots across the interior line and held his own against elite defenders. In Pittsburgh, before the injury, he was quietly one of their most reliable linemen. That's what made his injury so devastating. But now, Miami is hoping that with the right support, training staff, and rehab schedule, he can return not just to play, but to dominate. The Dolphins don't need Daniels to be a Pro Bowler out of the gate. They need him to be solid, consistent, and tough, traits he's shown throughout his career. And if he can regain his old form, the Dolphins may have pulled off one of the smartest free agent signings of the offseason. There's another layer here too, the run game. Miami showed flashes of a powerful ground attack last year, but it wasn't consistent. Too often they relied on explosive plays instead of grinding out yards. A healthy Daniels helps change that. He's the kind of guard who can pull, create movement at the point of attack, and give running backs clean lanes to hit. And when you've got guys like Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane creating spaces, all they need, add Daniels to the mix, and suddenly you're not just hoping for big plays. You're building them. You're dictating the pace. You're keeping defenses honest. It's about imposing your will, and Daniels can help this line do exactly that. It's why the Dolphins targeted him in free agency. Not just for protection, but for physicality, for toughness, for identity. Of course, we'll have to see how this all plays out over the next couple of months. Training camp will tell us a lot. Preseason reps, even if they're limited, will give us a better sense of where Daniels stands. And the coaching staff will keep a close eye on his progress. No one wants to rush a return. No one wants to jeopardize long-term health for a short-term appearance. But if Daniels keeps trending the way he's describing, the Dolphins could enter week 1 with a fully loaded offensive line. That would be a game changer. Not just for Tua, not just for the run game, but for the entire trajectory of the 2025 season. Because in a league where the margins are razor thin, having your top off-season edition ready to go can be the difference between a playoff push and another year of what-ifs. So, yeah, it's just one update. Just a few quotes. But for Miami Dolphins fans, it's hope, it's progress, it's the vision of what could be finally starting to take shape. James Daniels still has some ground to cover, no doubt. But he's on track, he's mentally sharp. He's putting in the work. And maybe, just maybe, he'll be back just in time to help this Dolphins offense hit full stride. If that happens, we're not just talking about a comeback story. We're talking about a team that's ready to make noise in the AFC. Keep an eye on this one, because the Dolphins might have found their anchor, and he's almost ready to drop. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button, and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? All right, folks, gather around because there's a bombshell dropping straight from the Miami Dolphins camp. And trust me, it's causing ripples everywhere. Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, has stirred up quite the buzz with some pretty sharp criticisms aimed directly at the team. Now, this isn't your everyday locker room gripe or typical coach talk. We're talking about a serious shakeup, a kind of wake-up call that's got fans and insiders whispering about potential cracks behind the scenes. Weaver didn't just make passing comments. His words hit hard, hinting at deeper frustrations and maybe even some internal conflicts that could affect the team's dynamics moving forward. What's fascinating here is the timing of Weaver's remarks. The Dolphins have been riding a roller coaster this season, showing flashes of brilliance, but also moments of inconsistency that have puzzled analysts. Weaver's critique feels like a crack in the armor, an insider finally voicing what some fans and critics have suspected all along. Could this be the start of a bigger conversation inside the Dolphins locker room? Or maybe even a sign that changes, coaching or roster-wise, are looming just over the horizon? The way Weaver framed his comments, it's hard to imagine the Team brushing this off lightly, digging deeper into the content of Weaver's statements, he didn't mince words about the defense, which is his direct responsibility. There were hints that the unit hasn't been performing up to expectations, but more than that, he pointed fingers at effort, communication, and even mindset issues. It's one thing to acknowledge tough games, but Weaver went further, suggesting that some players might not be fully aligned with the coaching vision or the level of commitment required. That's a bold assertion in any locker room, especially in a team as competitive as the Dolphins. Naturally, when a coach-level figure throws such shade, the media and fans start speculating wildly. Is this a prelude to a mid-season shakeup? Could Weaver himself be on the hot seat? Or perhaps he's positioning himself as a leader trying to light a fire under a team that's underperforming. Rumors have already started swirling that internal meetings are becoming more intense, and whispers of potential personnel changes on the defensive side have picked up. The Dolphins front office is known for reacting swiftly to unrest, so all eyes are now on how they'll manage this sudden storm. One has to wonder, what sparked this outburst from Weaver? Coaches don't typically go public with internal critiques unless something significant is brewing beneath the surface. Was there a particular incident in practice or during a game that pushed him over the edge? Or is this frustration boiling up from a longer-term struggle to get the defense in shape? There's talk among insiders that tensions have been simmering for weeks, and Weaver's comments could be a strategic move to push the team toward accountability before things spiral further. Another layer to this story is how the players themselves might be reacting behind closed doors. Public criticism from a coordinator can be a double-edged sword. Some players might respond with renewed effort and focus, while others could feel targeted and demoralized. The locker room chemistry is crucial in football. And if Weaver's statements are creating divides, the Dolphins might be facing challenges far beyond the X's and O's. Fans are eager for inside scoops on player reactions, and every social media post or sideline interview is being scrutinized for clues. Of course, the Dolphins head coach and front office will have to navigate this carefully. They have to balance supporting their staff while also maintaining unity and confidence among players. If Weaver's comments are a signal that change is needed, who will be next under the microscope? Speculation is rife that the Dolphins management might be preparing to reassess the coaching staff or bring in new voices to shake up the locker room culture. Or maybe this is just the kind of tough talk that's meant to motivate and shake off complacency, a psychological tactic that could pay off if handled right. What does this mean for the Dolphins' season outlook, with the playoffs not too far off and competition heating up? Any sign of internal discord can send alarm bells ringing. Weaver's critique might be interpreted as a rallying cry, urging everyone to step up before it's too late. On the other hand, if these criticisms expose deeper problems, the Dolphins could be in for a rough patch ahead. Either way, the drama unfolding behind the scenes adds a layer of intrigue to every game they play from here on out. There's also the question of how this might impact Weaver's own future with the team. When a coach speaks out so candidly, it can either solidify their reputation as a leader who won't sugarcoat reality or put them at odds with management and players alike. Rumors about Weaver's job security are already starting to circulate, and analysts are debating whether he's positioning himself as a potential candidate for a higher role elsewhere, or simply trying to salvage this season by calling out the truth. Whatever the case, Weaver's boldness has definitely put him in the spotlight. To wrap it all up, Anthony Weaver's explosive comments have ignited a firestorm around the Miami Dolphins that no one saw coming. What started as quiet grumblings inside the team might now escalate into full-blown changes, or at the very least a serious reckoning. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike will be watching closely to see how the Dolphins respond to this internal shakeup. Will Weaver's criticism be the spark that transforms the team, or will it unravel the fragile balance they've been trying to build? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and the next few weeks are going to be crucial in shaping the Dolphins' fate. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.